25% of the population, give or take, has some form of disability, but you don't see that because some disabilities are inherently invisible. And also, people want to appear normal. People don't want to look different. So just because you don't think you have somebody with a disability working for you doesn't mean you don't.
Welcome to another episode of the Play Big Faster podcast. We're joined in this episode by Angela Fowler. Angela has a coaching and consulting business that helps business owners with accessibility issues. Angela, could you just maybe share your journey and what sparked it and how you've made it your mission to help businesses tap into the 1.1 trillion, and that's with a T, $1 trillion buying power of people with disabilities?
Absolutely. So I'm totally blind. So accessibility has been a passion of mine for a long time. And I realized as I got older and wiser that I don't want to just get frustrated by it. I want to be part of the solution. And I also realized as I got older and wiser that most people just don't know A, benefits of having an accessible business, and B, what it takes to make their business accessible. It's an awareness problem. So I started Real Life Access earlier this year, and my mission is to teach small to medium-sized businesses, and anybody really, how to make their products and services accessible to people with disabilities. And it turns out when you do that, you not only tap into the over 2.1 trillion, that is with a T, that does have 12 zeros on it, buying power of people with disabilities, but you also make your products and services more user-friendly for everybody. Have you ever been on a website and just not had a clue where anything was because everything was just discombobulated?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it looked good. I'm sure that it was visually appealing, but you couldn't find anything. And that's because the mistake that a lot of people make is they design for aesthetics first. My background is in digital accessibility, but I teach other kinds of accessibility too, the physical accessibility and cultural accessibility. How do you build an organizational culture where difference is ordinary?
So, your tagline is that an accessible business is a prosperous business. What led you to approach your business model from a disability inclusion model versus a legal compliance model?
Absolutely. And because compliance not only is following the letter of the law, really not the intuitive layout. When I was talking about websites having an intuitive layout, that's not necessarily a legal requirement, but it is a requirement if you want your customers to be able to quickly and efficiently access your website. I don't think that if hitting people over the head with the ADA was effective, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. It doesn't work. People don't like being told what to do. People like being told how doing something benefits them. People like being told how doing something empowers other people to be successful, but people don't like being compelled to do things. It doesn't work, and most accessibility folks still argue for accessibility based largely on the legal model, and it's just not an effective argument.
Part of what you educate people about is that 25% of Americans have some form of disability. What are some of maybe the most common misconceptions that business leaders have about making their products and services more accessible?
The misconceptions surround disability itself. If we're going to educate about accessibility, we have to educate about disability. The first misconception is that disability is always going to be visible. It's not. 25% of the population, give or take, has some form of disability, but you don't see that because a lot of disabilities are inherently invisible. And also, people want to appear normal. People don't want to look different. We're social creatures. We like to fit in. So just because you don't think you have somebody with a disability working for you doesn't mean you don't have somebody with a disability working for you. The second misconception is society, as a general rule, looking at the big picture, society greatly underestimates what people with disabilities are capable of. Now, there are times when disability limits you. They won't let me drive a semi-truck. Can't imagine why that would be. But there are so many things that people don't think I as a blind person can do that I do all the time. I barbecue using charcoal, light it and everything. I run my own business. I'm a mom. I took care of a child. I own my own home. And these are things that, that a lot of people don't, because they don't know how a blind person does it, they don't think a blind person can do it. And it goes for other disabilities as well, right? So we are, as a society, we are greatly underestimating people's capability to the detriment of everybody. And we're basing our estimation on what people see, what's visible, what's out there in front of us. So if you see a blind person struggling to find their way around in an unfamiliar environment that's so noisy you can't hear yourself think, yeah, they probably are going to struggle in that situation, but that does not reflect in any way, shape, matter, or form on their ability to function in a workplace. That affects their, maybe that reflects on their ability to function in chaos that they're not familiar with. And we all struggle with that, right?
Right. Now, part of what you do, you offer coaching instead of technical fixes. How does your consulting approach differ from maybe accessibility experts offer? The mindset change, how is that important for business owners?
People need to buy into accessibility because they understand why it's important. I can fix your website and I can make it compliant. I can even make it accessible. But if you don't understand the why of accessibility, if you don't understand the things that you need to do to maintain an accessible website, chances are you're going to break it when you update your website, and then you just got to pay me to fix it again. But if I teach you, whatever you do in the future, you're going to do with accessibility in mind, because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Are you always going to be perfect? No, I'm not always perfect. But you're going to keep getting better, and you're going to, everything that you design, everything that you do, you're going to keep in the back of your mind, how do I make sure that everybody can use this?
For a small business owner or a solopreneur, they may have limited resources. Other than like your website example, what are 2 to 3 cost effective solutions that a small business owner can implement right away to actually see some immediate benefits for people with disabilities?
A lot of that depends on the business. It depends on what you're offering. The one thing that I would say universally is make sure that everything you do is described so that you don't have to see to appreciate. For example, if you're selling a product, if you put your product up on your website, make sure that your product description includes all the information that a blind person would need to know. Not every single little detail, mind you, but everything a blind person would need to know to make a decision as to whether or not they want to buy that product. Um, if you're doing a video, if you're presenting, make sure that all the important information is verbalized. Not every detail. I don't need to know what you're wearing or what color your hair is or whether or not you're wearing glasses, but I do need to know the information on your slides. Captions, if you're doing a video, make sure it's captioned. It's just in all you do, put yourself in the chair of the user. Make sure that things on your website are easy to find. Make sure that when you post to social media, make sure that you describe pictures and things so we know what they are. When you're advertising, right? It's amazing how many advertisements I come across and I have no idea what it is. If I have a client with limited resources, I'm going to say, look, let's do 2 things. Let's not try to solve everything at once. Let's go for the biggest mistakes and the easiest wins. Biggest mistakes for impact, easiest wins for confidence.
Love that. Now, you're always going to have someone who will think, my business does not have any customers with disabilities. How do you push back on the benefits of making these improvements to benefit all customers, not just customers with disabilities?
So I'm totally blind. I have no use for photographs except to show other people. But for me personally, I have absolutely no reason to sit and look at pictures. Why? Pointless. You know what I got my mom for Christmas? I got her one of those skylight picture frame things. You know, the ones you upload pictures to and you can scroll through them.
And yeah, and I guess a lot of people don't think like that because you totally may not have a personal use for it, but as a gift
Yeah.
or, yeah.
And my mom, she loves pictures. She takes pictures and she's not a spontaneous photographer, right? She has to set the scene, which means that she interrupts our lives. I love you, Mom. But she loves her pictures. And when I heard about the skylight frame, I knew that was going to be She's going to love this. She is going to really get a lot of use out of it. So I made sure I showed it to my son and said, hey, you think your grandma's going to be able to use this easily? Is this something that we want to do? And he, yeah, this is perfect. Yeah. But you can ask yourself, or you can assume, why would a blind person want to buy this? And yet we do it all the time.
So, do you think that there's a relationship between accessibility and the growth of a business?
Absolutely. The body of research is flawed. We don't have enough research to quantify this, but I believe that as your business becomes more accessible, you are not only attracting customers with disabilities, but because the things that you do to make your business accessible ultimately make them more user-friendly for everybody, you're going to increase your customers. You're going to cut down on cart abandonment. People in the middle of doing something and they give up. You're going to increase customer loyalty because people don't have to make an effort. People don't have to make that big of an effort to buy your product.
For people that are catching the pod for the first time and they're hearing these things they maybe have not considered in their business, what are some practical tools or resources that you would recommend that would actually help them in their business? Things that they can go out to Walmart or Amazon or office supply place. What are some things they can do right now or purchase to help with accessibility in their business?
Take a look at your website. And I keep going back to websites because generally speaking, that's going to be your first point of contact with a business is their website. Can you tab through everything with the keyboard? Can everything be accessed by the keyboard? If it can, you're one step closer to where you want to be. Is everything labeled? If it is, you're one step closer to where you want to be. In terms of, is there a product you can go buy? If you have a storefront and it has a little step up into the storefront, you can get a threshold ramp, which is a ramp that you can set down in front of so that if you have an inch high step into your building, somebody can just drive their wheelchair up the ramp. Another tip in terms of physical accessibility, make sure that there's enough room between things. Make sure that a wheelchair can get to your ADA compliant bathroom. You see it in restaurants all the time, right? Things are crammed so close together that it almost feels claustrophobic. And I can only think that by spreading things out, by maybe removing a couple tables and spacing things out a little bit, you're going to have a more accessible establishment. There's going to be less congestion, so wait staff can get around quicker. There's going to be fewer accidents. I can imagine it would almost be like addition by subtraction. You're gonna get customers in and out more quickly, and they're gonna have a more pleasant experience because there's more space.
Angela, if you had just one piece of advice to share with entrepreneurs on how to play big faster as they make their business more accessible to people with disabilities, what would that advice be?
Picture how other people navigate the world. What if you don't have your eyes? You're gonna navigate the world using your ears. You're going to navigate technology using a screen reader and a keyboard. If you don't have your ears, you're going to need your eyes. You're going to need to read closed captions. Design things robustly so that they can be accessed in different ways. And if you do that, they're going to be able to be accessed a lot more quickly and a lot more efficiently. So put yourself in the chair of the user.
And if someone wanted to continue this conversation with you offline or just to contact you, to find out more about accessibility issues and how they can improve their business, what's the best way to contact you?
Absolutely. So go to www.reallifeaccess.com. I've got a contact form. I've got my calendar links. You can schedule things. The calendar link is actually under services. I don't think I have it on the homepage right now. Maybe I do. I don't know. I got all my socials, all the things.
That is so great. Angela, thank you so much for shedding light on such an important issue and just things that we generally do not think about as business owners.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And everyone else, until next time, remember to play big faster.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Play Big Faster podcast. Want more entrepreneurial content?
I like this.
Make sure to subscribe for future episodes.
Already subscribed.
I just clicked on it.
Don't forget to like and leave a review. Share with a friend that needs this in their life.
I think you need this more than I.
Oh, and make sure to follow Cherie on IG at Cherie Speaks. And remember to play big faster.